How's it going, everybody? I know this movie's been out in theaters for a while now, and it's a little late for me to be reviewing it, but it's gotten a lot of nominations this award season, and I've got a lot of thoughts about this one that I need to get out there. So here is my review of The Big Short. The Big Short stars Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, and Brad Pitt, just to name a few. This movie follows the global financial crisis of 2008 and the collapse of the US housing market. Now, as someone whose undergraduate studies are in economics, I saw the trailer for this and thought, okay. You know, this subject has been covered by movies like Too Big to Fail, and there's some really amazing documentaries out there like Inside Job. Honestly, I was hesitant to see this movie because I thought that it would be a dumbed-down, more palatable version of something that I had already seen. However, I will happily admit when I am wrong, and this is one of those times. This movie was a breath of fresh air for me. One of the reasons I'm uploading this review after the movie's been out for weeks is because I was seriously considering waiting to see this one later when it came out on demand or something. It's awesome when you go see a movie in a theater with no expectation, and then it ends up being one of your favorite films of the year. Yes, this movie is about the 2008 financial crisis, but it is uniquely from the point of view of a handful of insiders who saw the collapse of the housing market coming and decided to profit from it. Now, I'm trying to think of any issues I had with this movie, and I'm really struggling. From seeing the trailer, I assumed that all of these characters were involved with one another, but this movie really contains three separate stories. You've got Christian Bale's character, who is the first person to figure out that the housing market is going to collapse, and decide he's going to bet against it. The second story is Ryan Gosling's character, who overhears at a bar what Christian Bale's character is doing, and decides to follow suit. He brings in Steve Carell's character and also bets against the housing market. And the third story is Dandy from American Horror Story and his friend reading something in a waiting room that makes them also bet against the housing market with the help of Brad Pitt. I make it sound so complicated, but that's one of the brilliant things about this movie. It's so easy to follow. They break the fourth wall a lot, and it never feels weird or forced. It's usually to help explain something complicated in a simple way. They actually have several scenes featuring different celebrities that I didn't even know were in this movie, simplifying what's going on in the movie for the audience. I thought that all of these were a great touch. As far as the acting goes, Christian Bale's performance was solid. I noticed that he's been nominated for an Oscar. It just goes to show you that this year really hasn't had many standout performances. He did a good job, I just wouldn't have figured that it would earn him a nomination. Steve Carell once again shows us some versatility. I'm all for Steve Carell's transition from comedy to drama. Add this to his solid performances in The Way Back and Foxcatcher. The last actor I want to mention is Ryan Gosling. In a lot of ways, he's the lead in this movie. He's the narrator, and he's the reason that this movie was nominated as a comedy at the Golden Globes. He made me laugh out loud multiple times in this movie, which I wasn't expecting. This brings me to what I really want to talk about. When The Martian beat this movie at the Golden Globes in the comedy category, I didn't think much of it other than The Martian being considered a comedy is a joke in and of itself. Now that I've seen this movie, it's really upsetting that it didn't win this category. Unlike The Martian, this movie actually felt like a comedy. And even if you took out the comedy factor and stood these two movies next to each other, I think that The Big Short is just plain better. I know that was a little off topic, but I just had to get that out there. So clearly I enjoyed The Big Short. I wish that I could have gotten the review up sooner. For those of you who still haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a trip to the theater. This movie simplified a complicated subject matter without dumbing it down, and packs in a surprising amount of humor along the way. That is why I am giving The Big Short an 89%. What did you guys think of the movie? And while we're at it, who else thinks that it deserved the Golden Globe over The Martian? Let me know what you think in the comments below, leave a like if you did, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.